Chris Charlton here from WhereDoesGodzillaPoop.com, and today we're having a look at Combo Crew for the iPhone from the same people that brought us Squids, which was a kind of, I don't know, a tactical strategy free-to-play thing. This is not free-to-play, nor is it strategy. It's a sort of arena beat-em-up with a couple of interesting little sort of perks and little twists here. So there's a couple of main modes to this, King of the Tower and Combo Crew mode. Combo Crew is the sort of name of the game, so we'll get into that a little bit later on, and not very lead here. Well, very lead, I suppose. Let's jump into the sort of campaign, so to speak, so you can see what's going on. The twist here is that it's a brawling game, it's a beat-em-up, of which there are a few on the iPhone, but there's none that, you know, I mean, all the other beat-em-ups on the iPhone tend to have clumsily placed virtual controls and virtual D-pads and horrible non-real buttons. But what we're doing here is purely gesture-based and, you know, based on swipes and taps and things, and that kind of makes things interesting. So, start. Here we go. I'm not. You're not sort of controlling where your guy's moving here directly. Instead, what you're doing is swiping across enemies, and he kind of does the Batman style thing of sort of magnetizing himself towards an enemy on the other side of the screen if need be. And you see there as well, you get exclamation points as someone's about to attack you. So much like Batman, you know, you've kind of got to keep one eye out for someone about to attack you, and then tap the screen anywhere to launch a counter-attack. You swipe with one finger. Oh, hello. There's a super move here. Wow, clearing house. You swipe with one finger to sort of launch an ordinary attack, or you swipe with two fingers to launch a combo. And the sort of name of the game here is that as you're playing, you unlock new combos, of which you can equip 4, which are like, you know, swiping with two fingers in any of the 4 cardinal directions when you trigger one of your combos. So as you're playing, you're sort of unlocking new moves and new ways to do things. You can juggle enemies, as I did just there, with some of your combos. And you know, that's kind of it. As you can see, it looks really cool. It's got a kind of this nice cartoonish cel-shaded look to it. It's just one of those things where, as fun as this combat is, it's kind of limited by the fact that you are only doing swipes. And it's literally dial a combo in the sense where you swipe once and you swipe in one direction once with 2 fingers, and he launches into a 10-move combo, and all you're doing is sort of sitting back and watching. But it is fairly involving, you know, I mean, just to sort of, you feel kind of badass by you know, floating in between people and zipping this way and that and beating people up. And I got a gold medal there because I'm... So we'll just play one more round here. Start. And yeah, it's kind of, in a way, it's begging for, you know, the reason why everybody sort of likes the Arkham, you know, the Batman Arkham City or the Batman's Arkham Asylums, or your Sleeping Dogs for that matter, is that the combat is really satisfying. You can swipe in one direction there and hold on, and then that will lead to a garbage. The combat is really satisfying in those games, but you're doing a lot of exploration and a lot of other stuff, and that in itself is cool as well. I'm not sure if you just take the sort of core combat philosophy and simplify it. I'm not sure it kind of makes a sort of compelling enough reason to get a game in and of itself, but as we'll see in just a little bit, there's a couple of extra gimmicks here that make it perhaps where you are. Super activated. So yeah, you sort of charge up a super, and when you have, you can swipe across the screen in a sort of, you know, Fruit Ninja frenzy to take out people. And perhaps that's probably the better analogy to make here, that it's sort of Batman Arkham Asylum meets Fruit Ninja in a sense. You know, it's wow. It's sort of taking that Fruit Ninja kind of. I'm loath to say visceral, but you know, that kind of visceral thrill of sort of slicing through things, and you're slicing through people with a sort of more visually coherent style of, hey, you're having a fight and there's counters to be made and things like that. So it's simple, but it is a lot of fun. The last one here.
On fire!
It's also, by and large, in this mode, pretty easy, pretty straightforward, as long as you keep one eye open, sort of behind you,
Awesome!
so that you can tap and counter people before they attack you, and you're not going to have too many troubles.
Super activated! On fire!
So there's that. It's interesting, the guys behind this, when they were making Squids, they kind of had trouble implementing a sort of free-to-play and an in-app purchase system that worked. So they said here, you know, rather than make it free-to-play, it is just a couple of bucks or 160 yen, and you get everything. But there is an unlock system in place there. So you see, if I get a gold medal on each stage, then I get this joypad thing, and you know, as a reward if we quit out here.
Start.
So yeah, as a reward for each gold medal, you get a sort of swanky joypad, and you can go into the shop here, and well, not even that. If you go into the fighters menu, you can either save those joypads up, those gold medals up, to unlock new characters, or you can spend those things on new characters, on new combos for the characters that you do have. So I can buy that, and then I can choose to equip that in place of, I don't know, one of these things. So you can only keep 4 combos, as we said at the time, because they are tied to the 4 cardinal directions. So it's interesting that there is like an unlock path there. It's trying to keep you playing, even though, you know, there's no, you can't skip any of that by spending real currency. It seems weird that things aren't just all open from the outset, but I suppose it keeps you playing. I think the real reason this is going to keep you playing, if you're into that sort of thing, and more importantly you have friends that are into that sort of thing, is Combo Crew mode. So this is kind of, it's a survival mode in a sense, but you also see, as we've got here, like a lot of Endless Runners, you have 3 missions at any one time, and you know, so there's a reward system in place as you're playing through and trying to survive as many rounds as you can. I'm also trying to think about, oh, I want to counter as many enemies as I can, I want to hit as many charged attacks as I can and mostly beating that, or I want to perform a throw on somebody, which I don't think I know how to do. I don't think the game's ever taught me how to do that. So. Oh, well, figure that out now. Okay. So yeah, it's kind of interesting that there is that system behind it, and what's more interesting about this is that there's actually some asynchronous multiplayer going on here. So what happens is you form what's kind of annoyingly, well, ingratiatingly called in this game a crew of combos, I suppose, and you're all trying to help each other out in a sense. It's asynchronous co-op. So if I fail on this mission, if I get beaten to death, I can send a request to one of my friends, and if he clears the stage that I'm stuck on, his score gets converted into health points for me, so that then I can try again, you know, with bigger health, depending on how my friends did, you know, basically. And I think that's kind of a nice idea. The problem with it is that it uses Facebook for matchmaking, because it's also cross-platform here. You can play between iOS and Android people. But kind of because of that, it doesn't let you cherry pick who you can send invites to. It just kind of says, hey, would you like to use Facebook and ask for contact here? And that means that it instantly spams everybody on your Facebook friends list, which is never a good thing at all. Especially as this, it's not really something that perhaps I hang out with, saner sorts of people that wouldn't really do this sort of thing. I think if you have a game like that has this very sort of social element, and it's free, or it has a free sort of part to it, then you can kind of get away with that stuff, because you can send an invite to someone, or you can tell people on our forums or whatever, hey, I'm playing this game, it's free, check it out, and see what you think, and maybe spend more money to unlock the rest of the single player mode, or what have you. But the fact that oh wow, cool, Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery reference in the little unlocks there. But you know what I mean? The fact that it's a paid app, it's kind of, I'm spamming you on my Facebook friends list to check something out, and it's like, oh, alright, I suppose I'll check it out. And then it's, and then what? I have to pay another $2 on top of being harangued on the internet. It doesn't really, it's not really something that I see working. It's certainly not something that works for me, because I already feel bad about spamming people once on my Facebook friends list. I'm not going to do that again. So right now I don't have anybody in my crew, and I don't particularly desire anyone in my crew. So it's a nice idea to have sort of asynchronous co-op. I'm just not convinced how far it'll sort of reach in terms of how many people will actually be playing. But what is there is a nice, as I say, certainly it looks awesome, and it's a pretty fun little game. Emphasis on the literal, though, really. It's kind of a little bit limiting, and it would be really nice to see this sort of expanded into a fuller thing, even if it was a PSN game or an Xbox Live game or something like that. It would be kind of cool to see this expanded into more of a sort of a scrolling beat 'em up kind of thing, more of a Streets of Rage kind of thing, rather than just being confined into one room. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting one, and it might be worth a minute of your time. For more, head on over to wheredoesgodzillapoop.com. There will be a full review in short order. But in the meantime, do take care. Goodbye. But wait, there's more. 2 iPhone videos for you for the price of one, which is nothing, because that's what they're worth. We're looking right now at Karewa Piledriver. Literally, he is Piledriver. A look, I think this is best summed up by reading the amazing App Store description for this game, which runs, quote, "There were a man who held championship of wrestling only by Piledriver. Finishing hold was always Piledriver. Greet someone with Piledriver. Piledriver between Piledriver and Piledriver. Before long, Piledriver became to his proper name. One ask, who is that? All says, he is Piledriver. So that is the objective to the game. It is to piledrive someone. There you go. He is Piledriver. And this is a tilting based thing. I'm trying to bounce my other guy, my opponent's... I failed. I'm trying to bounce my opponent's head off of the turnbuckle in order to propel me further into the air. Or use my tag team partner here to spin me around and throw me in the air further, earning more points in this fantastic dramatic battle as music rages on. So there's some play-by-play going on the screen there. Rolling Piledriver. Oh, well, it's over there, but I got 21 piles. Yeah. Ore wa mo Piledriver janai. He's not the Piledriver anymore. It's probably an indictment of the state of the quality of wrestling-based games on the iPhone that this is probably the best one. Well, I suppose you've got Wrestling Manager, but that's a management game. This is the best actual wrestling game on the iPhone. Kyomo Kanari Kana Piledriver. Kinete nakata. Game over. That's it. Bye.